Tuesday, February 13th, 2024. Call this meeting of the Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. At this time, would everyone please rise? Commissioner Beecham will give our invocation.
Pray with me, please. Good and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you as a humble people this morning and asking your guidance and directions on our actions this morning, Lord. Lord, we thank you for the abundant moisture you've sent our way lately, Lord. Lord, we so need it in this area, and Lord, we just pray that we would continue to fill up our lakes over the springtime, Lord. Lord, we just ask your guidance, your protecting hand upon our first responders, Lord. Lord, just help us to conduct the business of our county to the best interest of our taxpayers and the things that you would have us to do, Lord. Lord, we pray these things all in Jesus' name. For his sake I pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join us for the pledge to the U.S. flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the pledge to the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, everyone may be seated. At this time, I'd like to ask Judge Johnson to come up. See, he's Judge Johnson, I'm the other Judge Johnson, as we've had to discover.
You're the tall guy.
Yeah. So we are recognizing the judge for 5 years of service to Wichita County. It seemed like 5 years? Seemed like 25? Seemed like 1?
It doesn't seem that long.
Yeah. So Judge Johnson's been elected twice now, and so obviously starting the second year of second term, so it's 5 years. I just wanted to say I did quickly learn who he was because he and I kept getting each other's mail, both email and snail mail, and so quickly had to go figure out. If I get something I don't know what this is about, probably goes to you and vice versa. Thank you for what you do. I know that PMJP out in one of our outlying offices sometimes feel a little bit like you're on an island, but you help make the wheels go out there, so thank you for what you do. You've got the floor. Do you want to say anything?
I've just enjoyed the last 5 years of serving the citizens there in my precinct, and we've got some good people over there with the clerk and the constable, so just have enjoyed it. Doesn't seem like it's been 5 years, and we just, we're appreciative to be able to serve our area of the county as well.
Yeah. And as most of y'all know through Commissioner Beecham's updates and the court decision, we will be doing some pretty big work out in Iowa Park building this year, and so he's currently looking for office space that may have to move into while we're doing that work. So anyone who's listening,
yeah. Kid on the lawn.
Anyone else like to say anything?
Thank you for what you do for the county.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks. Appreciate you. We've got to take a picture. How about you?
Close in front of that tree.
Oh, that's right. Judge, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Lisa, I'm going to give you a public service announcement.
Oh, good.
That item in the closed session, because we're missing 2 folks, we're probably going to move both of those off today. So if you've got other places to be and stuff to do, I didn't want to keep you here unnecessarily. Okay. This time I'd like to invite Ron Kitchens, Executive Director of the Wichita Falls Chamber of Commerce, to come up just to address the court on what's happening at the Chamber and economic development happening in Wichita Falls.
Awesome. Thank you for the opportunity. So I'm excited. This year is 123rd year of the Chamber of Commerce. And so we're looking for lots of things that are 1, 2, and 3. But I'm going to start backwards with that 3, 2, 1. And so things you probably don't know about your own hometown, your own home area, is we have the 3rd lowest cost of living in the nation. We're number 2 best place for first-time home buyers. And we're number 1 in Texas and number 8 in the nation for Generation X moving to the community. And so at a time when we all like to say, well, we aren't growing, we certainly have good indication. Now, Austin's numbers are bigger as a percentage, but as a percentage, we're number 1 in the state in people in Generation X selecting Wichita County to move to. And we think that's really important. And when we look, there was a great story in the Dallas newspaper this morning about why people who are selecting Texas, why they select Texas. And it's really clear it's our culture. So it's a place that creates jobs, gives people individual autonomy, that celebrates the individual. It's great public schools, and it's great public safety. People come here and they feel safe. And so those are all things that you all have tremendous impact on. So as we embark on this war for jobs, and please don't get me wrong, there's a war for jobs out there. You know, when we look, Gallup tells us there's about 8 billion people on planet Earth. Of those 8 billion people, 5 billion of them are between the ages of 16 and 65. Of that, when they interview those folks and say, what's the most important thing to you? 3.2 billion of them say more important than safety, more important than housing, more important than clothing, more important than education, more important than food is a well-paying job. And so the problem is there's only about 2 billion jobs on the planet. So we want to create world peace, create 1.2 billion jobs, and everybody will be happy. But we're not going to do that. So we have to go out every day and fight for jobs. And that's what we do at the Chamber. Now, the soft side, the small business side of us, the Chamber side, we're really proud. In the last year, we grew membership 21%. That's the first time in a decade that we've seen growth. So that's 114 net new members of the Chamber. And I'd like to tell you it's because we're great salesmen, but it's not. It's because people believe in the community, because they're reinvesting in their hometown. You know, we've got clear and relevant member engagement. I know you all get Falls Forward, our newsletter, but you know, there's 2,500 or so people who get that twice a week. It's a 66% open rate. Our previous newsletter had a 4% open rate. So it tells you that people are engaged. You know, our wake up and after hours, we reinvented those. We raised $3,000 last year for charity. You know, it's the typical, everybody throws in $1 when they show up. You used to get to keep the $1, and you can still keep that pot of money if you want, if you win. But if you'll donate it to charity, we've arranged for those dollars to be matched, so we can double what's going to the community. So it's about business giving back to the community. You know, we know we got to grow membership this year, but we've got to do a lot of other things. Mark, you look like you have a question.
No, we're talking about jobs are really key, and we
Yep.
hear that a lot, and I get a lot of
Yep.
questions, and we have a lot of service sector and retail sector jobs, but what are we doing for other sectors? What are we
Yeah.
doing to attract
That-
those higher paying jobs?
Absolutely key. So last year, we had 100 RFPs, requests for proposal. So that's where a company, either out of the blue, or a company that we go generate interest from, or it comes from a site decision influencer, comes from the governor's office. We had 100 companies that said, we have a need, will you give us a proposal? Of those, 60 of them matched us. Typical company takes about 18 months from the time they ask for the proposals to the time they make a decision. So we're in the middle of that process with a lot of them. We had 5 announcements last year. The biggest one you all are key in, and we'll still have one more opportunity to talk about, which is Westlake Chemical, the PVC plant. That's $130 million investment, the largest investment in a generation. We also had expansions by Magic Air. We relocated Cinderoo from Arizona to here, at a significant expansion at Covercraft, where they committed to hire 20 people, and within 2 weeks had already hired 18 of them. And so we were very pleased with that. And then Seasons Eatings, which is a food bar manufacturer. One Idea, Wichita Falls. We were able to bring some resources to them to help them grow and put in that plant. But we have 5 deals right now that we're finalists on, and we expect you'll see by mid-spring 2 pretty significant announcements. One that the Economic Development Corporation, the 4A board, has on the agenda for Thursday. One that was in yesterday that we think we came to terms with on a pretty large acquisition at the industrial park, which would be a large campus there. So we're focusing on that every day when we look at our process. So where maybe in the past it was more catching, we're hunters. We're not fishermen, we're hunters. And so we've targeted 100 companies that have the best opportunity to create jobs here. And we are making them our best friend. And some of them will fall out and we'll add another company to it, but we think we have to have 100 all the time. The company that was in town yesterday was one of those that we hunted. We identified that they had the best opportunity to do what we knew we needed done, and I think we're going to get them.
Is there an executive summary that I could point people to to explain all this?
We probably should create something
Yeah.
that does that. We've been putting a lot of it in the newsletter.
Sure.
All the kind of data points go in the newsletter, but we probably ought to come up with some kind of running document.
Yeah, it'd be great, because I get a lot of questions
Yep.
in particular about jobs, and everybody sees the retail and service sector job.
Yep.
But they don't see these other ones, which are great opportunities. That are
Yeah, and I will
so.
tell you the failure of our small businesses, and frankly, we've looked, small businesses don't fail at any rate higher than anybody else's
Sure.
small businesses. But we know if we want small business to grow in the community, then we need large businesses to create primary jobs. Those
Sure.
are jobs where the money comes in from outside of the community, gets spent here, and gets spun in the community. So
Yeah.
we're heavily focused on that. We're very much focused on this year energy, which is both batteries and hydrogen. We have a hydrogen a downstream for the hydrogen plant in town today, and so we're trying to convince them that of all the hydrogen plants that are going to be built in America, that they do their manufacturing at our hydrogen plant. And one of my fears is, and having lived on the Gulf Coast in Corpus Christi, I see all those refineries and lived in the middle of that, but there were never any manufacturing plants. We made products, but we never got to use those products. So we could produce chemicals that made plastics, but we never produced the bumper for a car.
Sure.
We've got to make sure with this hydrogen plant, we don't get lost on that. We've got to capture the downstream on that. Same way on Panda, we're working with Pandas downstream to make sure that we're capturing those jobs. Batteries, there's no secret to anybody that batteries, whether it's electric vehicles or where it's batteries that are storing the power from wind turbines and solar, batteries are going to be a major component in the United States. That was, going to be 5 years ago. That was a Chinese business. All the battery plants were Chinese. Now that in our case, frankly, we couldn't do a Chinese plant here because federal security laws wouldn't allow us to put a plant that close to an Air Force base. So, but the good thing for us, it's the Koreans who've now stepped in to fill that void. So we've been selected as the only community from Texas for 12 southern states to be hosted by the Korean government, to be introduced to 31 different companies that have identified they want to come to the South and to do battery operations.
Wow.
So we were with them a week ago today with the Korean embassy a week ago today in Atlanta. We'll be with them in a month or so in Seoul, being introduced to those companies focused on energy. Advanced manufacturing, continue to work on, we have to make things here.
Sure.
That's our key. And then small and ag aviation, we've had a long history of talking about aviation, but nobody ever really decided what we were good at. And the fact of the matter is we're good at making components for small aircraft and for ag aviation. And so we've got to double down on that. And so we're working with the existing companies on expansions. Those companies have all agreed to take us to their trade shows. So rather than us wander around hoping we might meet somebody, they've agreed to take us and introduce us to their customers, introduce us to their suppliers, so that we're out there selling in a more strategic way. And then, of course, we got to grow small businesses. We have a series to grow businesses. Starting this year, there's 15 now classes on everything from, how do you get permits? It's daunting, and I do this stuff every day, and I looked at the list of all the different offices you got to go to, and if you miss one step, it feels a bit like Monopoly. You go to jail and you have to start all over again. And so we got to get better at that. So those programming, military is critically important, as you all know, 35% of our economy. We have a trip, and I'd encourage you, if you have interest, to please join us, that we're co-sponsoring with the Shepherd Military Affairs Committee, April 3rd through May 2nd, to go to Washington to tell our story. For generations, we as a community have really taken the base for granted. It's there, it grows, they take care of themselves. But we know the reality is those communities that are growing military are those that are demanding that military grow there. We know we've been disinvested in the investments that should have come here to upgrade the facilities to make us more BRAC-proof, if you were. Those investments weren't made. So it's time to go to say we need more money invested in the base, and we need more missions to come here. We've got excess capacity. Now let's fill up that capacity, and it ought to come here before anywhere else. So we're off to do that. Also talking with both the senators and our representatives about the other things we need in the community. We need more investment in higher education. We need more investment in roads. There's a real mission to expand the interstate system in Texas. Well, that's going to happen. Let's make sure those roads go through Wichita Falls. And so if you have any interest in doing that, it's a Dutch treat kind of thing. Everybody pays their own. We're facilitating it. But we would love to have folks who are thoughtfully committed to attend that. And so if you have an interest, please let me know.
And that's April 30th through May 2nd, right?
I'm sorry.
That's a big
April
trip.
30th.
Yeah,
It's a long
just,
trip. April 30th. Yeah. Now I typed April 3rd, but I'm pretty sure it's April 30th through May 2nd. Yeah. And the other thing on the base, really trying to connect the base to business. We have a program called We Support Shepherd. We have 109 retailers now who you'll see a sticker on their front window. You can scan the QR code on the sticker, and it tells you what discount that store gives to either active duty or all military personnel. That started from 0 6 months ago, and it's up to 109. We think we're going to get it to a couple hundred this year, but it's connecting the base, making sure that those dollars that we can keep and capture here get kept and captured in the community. So we have a ton going on. Nothing more important than the jobs pipeline, but we're seeing great things happen.
Good. One question.
Yes, sir.
Who is Generation X?
Generation X is you.
I think I'm technically a really old millennial. But
Is that? I may be a really old. So
I was just. I wasn't
yeah,
sure
that
what
is
the
the
date-
kid. That's the kid's 2 years younger than you.
Yeah.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not Z. It's not those coming out of college, a couple years out of college. It's that next group.
Okay.
It's at young families.
1960 to the mid-80s.
Is that what it is?
So it's after baby boomers?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm the last of the boomers, so.
That's me.
And proud.
It's Mickey Buchanan.
Yeah.
And our boomer.
And it's, and Wichita County is a great place to live, period.
Yep.
And you brought up one thing that a lot of people don't catch. There is a lot of businesses being built and a lot of new businesses being built in Wichita County, Wichita Falls, but people don't see about it on rants and raves because it's not a fast food place. But if you you actually look at some of the places around the East Central Freeway, around the law enforcement center.
Yep.
You get out there and look, there's a lot of people, a lot of outside investment in Wichita County right now.
2 massive distribution centers
Yeah.
opened last year, with the new Caterpillar distribution center and the new dairy distribution center. But because they're in industrial parks, that if you don't work
People
in
don't
that
see
park,
it.
you don't know it exists.
Right.
Yeah, that's, we don't do a good job of selling
Yeah.
or telling
Well-
our public the story.
And that's where I think, you are busy doing that all the time and searching it, but we need to brag on our community. This is a great community and we got to brag on it. There's tons of outside investment being done here right now. And that outside investment is what draws Generation X and younger people to come here. Because when they see newer jobs, when you have openings, you'll get people to come here.
Yep.
Well,
We have a little bit of a shortage of manpower, but when you build business there, they'll come.
we wouldn't be building hotels and restaurants if the need wasn't there because other
That's right.
things are happening. And I try to explain that to people, but that's all they see going on is
They
the
see
stuff
the
that's
fast
on the,
food and
yeah, that's stuff on the
hotels.
surface. They
Yep.
don't see, that's why I asked for an executive summary that I can
Yeah.
point people to.
Yep, we need to do a better job of bragging.
Yeah.
And for us, it's, we like to get one done and move to the next one,
Yeah.
and we kind of forget to do that. But we've got to do more of that celebrating.
Yeah, the
'Cause
community
people need to
itself
see
needs
it.
brag.
Yep,
Yeah.
And I think y'all are doing great.
You're right.
I appreciate it.
yep, we do
Don't
need to
disagree.
brag. And that, we're too humble. I think we're just too dang close to Oklahoma. It sucked the Texas brag out of us. Because we all know Oklahoma sucks, so it must be they're sucking the brag out of us. Because we gotta be Central Texans. Those folks can't quit bragging about themselves.
Right.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. We need to tell our story. Tell it often.
Yep.
And I brag on the newsletter. Y'all do a great job with it, and I personally was a beneficiary of it because I think when we're hiring the chief of staff, y'all had that on the newsletter, and I got half a dozen good applicants through that process. So.
Well, and that's
People
the
really-
that's the idea. Monday is all about. We all hear there's nothing to do here. We can't get it all on 2 pages. Everything going on that week.
There's nothing to do here if you don't get involved. If
That's
you're
right.
involved in the community,
Yeah.
you can't stop doing things.
That's it. Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, you can't be passive and
No,
be a participant.
that's right.
All right. Anything else, Ron?
No,
Anything else, gentlemen?
Appreciate you
thank
coming.
you all
this
for the
morning.
awesome
Thank you
job
very
you do.
much. All right. It is 10:23. This time we'll open up for public comments. As a reminder, we ask the comments be limited to 5 minutes or less, and no action can be taken on any item brought up during this time. Do we have any public comment this morning?
I have one.
Yes, ma'am.
I've been working on a designation through the governor's office with TWC for weed.
Tanya, do you mind coming up so that the mic can pick you up? Thank
Okay.
you.
So we're working on a designation from the governor's office. It's We Hire Vets. We need approximately 6 or 7 more vets in the county that work for the county. I think I'm at 46, and I know they're out there, but we have to have 10% of our workforce who are veterans. And just making a plea, if anybody else knows of any that haven't contacted me, please ask them to holler at me.
And if we get to that 10% threshold, what is it exactly?
It's a 1-year designation, and I think you get some kind of signage decal for your front door, and it just says "We Hire Vets," and it's just a recognition, for serving our veterans. But I just feel like with 520 to 25 people, we should have 52 veterans out there. I'm sure we do. I just can't find them. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. I will, go ahead. Oh, okay.
I thought our might have a review of the fire deal. Yeah, Wildland Academy.
Yeah, come on up, Dwayne.
I'd love to. They all go good?
Yes, sir, went well. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
Just wanted to tell you thank you for participating in their breakfast the other morning at the Wildland Academy. We had 296 students registered, representing 88 agencies across Texas and out of state also. We had some out-of-state folks that come in to take our Wildland Academy. So it was a 12-day academy. learning everything from basic wildland all the way up to strike team leader and division supervisor in those areas and all other realms of it. So a lot of our volunteer departments around here had quite a few folks in it. I know some of them had as much as 10 or 12 people going to classes and taking 2 or 3 different classes apiece. So out of that 296 students, that was just the number of students that registered, but they all might have been taking 1, 2, 3, or 4 classes throughout that. I know some of them were there 10 days solid basically from start to finish. So it was a good turnout. We served a little over 2,800 meals between breakfast and lunch in a 12-day period. So it was a huge success. All of the students and stuff that were in the community ate at our restaurants, stayed at our hotels between Burke and Wichita Falls. So it's a huge deal, and it's getting bigger. And to my understanding, we outdid Bastrop this year, which is the #1 in the state. So
Wow.
I finally got my goal accomplished to be able to get past them. So it's a huge investment, and it's only getting bigger. And we've had people ask, how can we make it bigger? The only way we can make it bigger is have more dorm rooms and have more rooms for classrooms. So if y'all can find some money somewhere in the budget to bring some classrooms in, we'd appreciate it.
We've got a big classroom up on 5 here that you
Yep.
you can use, so.
But it's all at Camp Perkins, and like I said, everybody stays there in the community, brings everything, all the money to there, and it's a good training for all of our fire departments here locally and the state and out-of-state resources that come in, and we're getting more and more of the out-of-state resources coming in to our little academy here in North Texas.
Yeah,
Compared
I think at breakfast I met someone from Idaho.
Yes, sir.
Does that sound right? Yeah.
Yes, sir. We've had them from Idaho, Washington, Oregon, Florida, some from North Carolina, that they can't get classes anywhere else because of whatever reason. So what we'll do is we'll get them in here, get them a motel room, and all the money goes back into the academy that we make. It goes right back into it to buying tables, try to buy classrooms, but they're expensive, Zoom rows or pop-up tents or whatever. And a lot of that money goes back into there, and then we give money to local fire departments that need, drop tanks
Yeah.
or whatever. So we'll donate some money to them for equipment or whatever they need for that. So appreciate y'all taking a vested
Good.
interest in it. So
Good work.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
The reason I wanted him to speak is what Ron was talking about.
Yep.
All these extra deals, everything feeds off everything, and
Yeah,
that, if you drove by the new hotel here, there were fire
Yep.
trucks lined up there during that academy. Same way in Burke, so it all stimulates the economy.
Yep.
Just glad to see it. Thank you.
may not stimulate the economy, but I'm take time to brag on Sherry Jones.
Yep.
She
Go for it.
She was given the Lifetime Achievement Award through Healthy County this past week, so we very much deserved. I'm sure we'll bring her up here.
We will
and
be
honor
recognizing her
but yeah, I want-
officially.
Definitely want to brag on her. That's an awesome achievement.
And I'll take this opportunity just to update on schedule for court for the next couple of weeks. We will be having a special voting session this Friday. We will not be meeting on Tuesday of next week. Commissioners will all be out at one of the big educational conferences that we have every year. So we will not have court a week from today on Tuesday. And then it'll be a normal special Friday session next Friday. So this Friday, a special voting session, no court on Tuesday the next week, and then non-voting court on Friday of next week, and then we're back in the normal schedule. So, okay, anything else?
Nope.
You got a public comment? Okay. Oh, yes, sir.
Since Commissioner Muller's not here, in Iowa Park this past weekend, we had I believe it was called the Iowa Park Invitational Robotics Competition. And I don't remember how many schools were there. Quite a few schools were there. I know Burke was there. Whole thing is pushed by a lady named Joanne Hawkins, who has been a good, amazing teacher in Iowa Park for many years. Basically built the robotics department by herself, securing grants and starting with an after-school program, and now she's teaching robotics full-time out there. Just an amazing, however smart you think she is, she's a lot smarter than that. And she's an amazing person, amazing teacher. And there were tons and tons of kids there. I got to be there yesterday because she had some judges and scorers drop out, so she asked for some help. So I was allowed to come out and watch, and it was amazing. just tons of kids, and the stuff that they're able to program and make these robots do is pretty amazing. So
Excellent.
good stuff out there.
Thanks, Stephen.
And also in Iowa Park, since you're looking for places to advertise for toilet paper, we've got a new newspaper going.
That's right.
The Iowa Park Journal started up. You can,
That's a good segue.
That was very nice. Yeah, it's already done its first couple of issues now. hasn't
yeah, I
it?
think we're on issue 3 this week. But we lost our paper a couple of years ago, so it's nice to have that going again. Local families running it.
This is the morning of exciting things happening all around the county. So, good deal. Thank you. Anyone else with public comment? All right, it is 10:31. Public comment is closed. So let's move on to the consent agenda. Does anyone have any questions, corrections, edits to make to consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Beecham, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or any of the items in the consent agenda? All right, motion is before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 3-0. All right, that takes us to general business number 1. Review and approve the regular bills for payment, verify payroll taxes have been filed, and order county treasurer to disperse payroll and or bills within 72 hours via U.S. mail, FedEx, UPS, or electronically, unless directed otherwise, or may be picked up and ledgered in the treasurer's office.
Second.
This is gonna be fun
Let's take
today.
turns.
Y'all just go all- All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Fincannon, seconded by Commissioner Beecham to approve number 1. Do we have any questions or comments on the motion or the item? All right, motion's before us. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 3-0. Item number 2, open and take action as necessary on property lease bids for Miriam Lane. We did not receive any bids. Well, there's not really much action to take then. All right. With no action taken, we'll go to item number 3. Receive report of money received and dispersed, debts due and owed by the county, and all other proceedings in the treasurer's office for the month ending January 31st, 2024, from Stephen Jones, Wichita County Treasurer, as required by Texas Local Government Code, Section 114.026. Mr. Jones, the floor is yours.
I'll just use the podium.
Funny guy, funny
You guys
guy.
are making me talk this early. I didn't know we were gonna go through so quick.
Hold on one second. Let's make sure we've got you on.
I'm sure it'll be a few days. How do I? No. Yeah, just sign me up. Not usually this dumb.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll watch it. Connect to the top one.
And most of what I have to say isn't very interesting, so I try to make it exciting with the report.
Oh no.
Got balloons?
No balloons.
Oh no. Mario.
Got it.
Okay, for January 2024. So,
Oh man.
first things for our A and B accounts. it's all really good news, actually. The only thing that I changed with what I've been doing before is that I'm not showing in the other money market account lines, I'm not showing the LPPF money that kind of skews everything for us. It's not our money, we just hold it for them. They give us $20,000 to write 5 or 6 checks a year. I think it's an amazing deal for us. But everything in it's their money, so I don't want it really to mix in and throw off our numbers. So this is more accurate as to what we actually have. And there's some other little ones in there, but that's the big one. Let's see, what else? So in that other money market gold, it's still got $2 million in it. Most of that's payroll, because we don't have a tax pool account for payroll. Just because we use it so much, it goes back and forth so frequently. And then there was the debt payment that we had to make in January. So that's really what all that $2 million is. We had high balances in January. Most of that's down quite a bit now. We had to have it in there because of how timing fell with the end of the month in checks that came in, and I didn't have time to get it in the tax pool at the end of the month. So it was in money market. It was earning the same interest rate, but I didn't have time to get it over in the tax pool. So big stuff in the amounts that were withdrawn from Gen. We put $19 million into tax pool, so that's exciting. $3 million was investments that we made to capture some of that long-term interest. $300,000 we spent to help fund our VFDs.
Long-term, how long-term?
12 months and 24 months. We did 2 CDs that we talked about last month in the investment report. But so we've got 4.5. Now I think it's 4 3/4 that we're going to have for 2 years, and the Fed's already said that by next year it's going to be down to 4.5. So
Yeah.
Trying to look at what we can capture now to. If it's not $4 million for 5 years, I don't know why.
No, that's what I was,
I don't know why I would do that,
Yeah.
but or anybody would.
you know, we had a lot of that
Well,
that we had to get rid of, so.
yeah, we're working through what we've had in that. It's getting better, and
Okay.
it's looking more exciting, and we're having. There was an opportunity in January, so we took it.
Okay.
Let's see. The big thing was our payout of $1 million in debt that we paid off. We'll get to that here in a minute, but oh, I didn't do the things. There's that one and the other money market. I did that out of order. Okay, tax pool accounts. Good signs there. We're up nearly $20 million in tax pool, which is an exciting thing. That $3 million that came out that we just talked about was the investments. The debt service payment we made. I thought I had an exact amount on that, but I didn't write it down. Oh, when we funded law library for the year.
So I'm just going back for a
Sorry.
second. It's all right.
I got excited.
You don't have to go back. I don't have to hear the sound again.
Oh, we will.
So we continue, or at least for this last year, or for this last month rather, $250,000 in interest for the month.
Yeah,
Wow.
from tax pool.
Yeah.
And then I think it was 20,000 or so from American National. So yeah, exciting. When we've got all that money sitting in tax pool, we can make a lot of interest off of it.
Yeah.
It gets lesser throughout the year because we spend it.
Right.
Good news there. We're starting pretty high.
Look at the yield rates on tax pools, pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it went down just a. Huh?
It hasn't always been that way.
No, it
wasn't
hasn't.
that way 2 years ago. at all.
0.5%.
Yeah,
When it's coming down a little bit
It is,
now,
it's,
but
uh,
it's still really healthy.
yeah. In January, it dropped 0.07%, which is 0.0007.
Right.
So it's come down a tiny bit, but it's still pretty high, especially compared to 2 years ago. This is the update on ad val taxes that have come in. So as of 2/9, and there's a check sitting on our desk that's going in later today for more. I didn't get to see what that dollar amount was, but looking at these, what's exciting to me is that the debt service is almost there to pay all of our debt for the year. So we've already gotten to where we're going to be comfortable with that. And then the general fund, we're almost to where we're going to have payroll paid for the year and what we've collected. So everything that comes in is for all the other stuff we have to buy, but for me, I'm concerned about payroll, so
Mhm.
we've got that almost covered for the whole year already. And again, this is adjusted for the whole time for LPPF money. So it's a little bit more, you can see where it's going along a little bit more like it was the 2 years before. January, we started off right in between the past 2 years. And as a math teacher, I'm excited about 23 looking more like a sine curve. It's pretty exciting there, which is how things fluctuate. So it's a good thing.
And Stephen, so I think you just said this, but those are apples to apples comparisons. All of those have LPPF taken out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd like to say it was a lot of work, but really I just deleted one column.
Huh.
It was a lot of work to put those numbers in there to begin
There
with,
you
but
go.
deleting is always easier than finding. So, yeah, we're starting off right between where we started off the last 2 years, and things are already looking pretty good. January, the total went up. See, I wrote it down, 2.7 million from the previous month. With all the stuff that we had to pay out in January, which is pretty heavy on the beginning of the year. Here's all the stuff we said we'd pay for this year that we sent out in the last couple of months, the last few weeks. So, looking pretty good so far. And these are the major fund expenditures. The only ones I didn't put on there, I put the big ones that I've already mentioned, the tax pool, 19 millions, transfers to money market I didn't put on there, payroll 2.8 million, and then the investments I didn't put on there. But there's the other big checks that cleared this past month. Sorry.
Health district, is that the payment for the entire year, or is that half payment? How do we have those structured?
I think that's the whole,
If I'm not
Is that
mistaken,
whole year?
they have a payment, one big payment, and we pay them monthly after that, we might change it all.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
that's close to the full amount,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, I see those checks every once in a while, but it's usually
Yeah.
not that big. They're
Yeah.
a lot smaller.
They're all over recurring bills.
They're usually not big enough to make the list. So. Okay, long-term debt, this is the one that's exciting because we've paid off TCCU. Went over there on the second with the big check, and then we had issues, but it's fine, it's paid off now. We ended up paying a little bit less because of an adjustment to the interest, so. But that one's gone. So we're excited about that. The only thing left we have is the LEC bond. And that's it.
You mixed Mario music together. It's not an
This is Super
appropriate-
Mario World.
Yeah.
The other one was all of 1985 Mario. I appreciate you noticing though.
My son and I
That's-
played through it and beat Super Mario World last year, so it's still fresh on the mind.
It's pretty fun. It's that's one of those things that's in, from what you were saying before, the term zennial is 75 to 85.
Okay, there you go.
Because I fall in there too. It's where we started off with no phones or anything, but we can actually still use them now.
Any questions or,
In him.
Right.
yeah, any questions for Stephen on the report? No. Do you have a copy that we need to sign on this one, or is that? the other
I
one?
dropped off a
Okay.
signature copy, and since the others aren't here, then they can wait.
All right.
Good report.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. All right. Any other questions? Okay. Brendan, let's.
Okay.
Let's move to item number 4, discuss, consider, and/or take action on creation of Wichita County Accident Incident Review Board. Since we had our conversation on Friday, a couple of folks have reached out that would like to discuss this with the court in a future session, and would appreciate it if we would delay taking action on it till we've been able to have those conversations. So unless there's an objection, I'm going to ask that we table
Motion to
discussion of
table.
court. Okay. Any objection?
No.
All right. and we will table number 4 to a future date. And the same is true then for number 5. Is there any objection to tabling that? Okay. Then we will table number 5 to a future date. Thank you. Okay. Item number 6. Discuss, consider, and/or take action to assign project number for the replacement of transformers and civil electrical work at Sprague Annex, and direct Harper Perkins to move forward with engineering with 2 options. Option A, to reconnect civil side to the new Encore transformers. Option B, to upsize the new Encore transformers and remove county-owned transformers. On this one, with 2 commissioners out who should definitely be part of this discussion, I'm also going to ask that we delay taking action on this until
This
they're
is
here.
just assigning the project number for this, not the future, not the discussion.
Correct, but it's moving forward with spending money. And there's some questions about it. I'd like to table number 6
Okay.
till there's a reason that in private, in some upcoming building discussion about it.
Yeah, I know. I asked for the upcoming building discussion, so.
Do you want to talk at all about this before we
I can, yeah.
go ahead and talk
Yeah.
about it, and then we'll
So this is something that we've known about for a time. I received a call from Encore that they had an additional problem with the transformer that basically feeds the Vernon portion of the Sprague building. That's a ground mount transformer situation that is not to current code. It's less than ideally safe. It has several issues with it that we can't put maintenance staff in there to maintain weeds, trees, et cetera. It's unsafe area for us to be in, which creates a problem. That transformer needs to be replaced. Encore has said they will replace the transformer at their cost, and they'll also contribute a portion of the cost back to Wichita County to do our part. We will have to take from the transformer back into the building where it meets back with our panel and bring that all up to code standards. That's kind of phase 1 to this whole project. Phase 2, or the other option that's on there, is Wichita County has our own transformer that was installed as part of the building when it was the Sprague Electric Factory. It's way overkill for our needs. Looking at doing an engineering estimate, not a full engineering, but engineering estimate, to see if it's worth our while to go ahead and remove the county's transformer from existence, get on Encore's transformer solely, and redivide the load of that building accordingly. So if our transformer goes out, it's my understanding it's as much as a 6-month lag time to get it replaced, so we would be completely without power unless we put in a generator or some other device. Be completely without power for that time.
would not affect the Vernon College.
Would
portion.
not affect the Vernon College
that
portion, but it would affect our portion. So we still have a lot of storage, we have evidence, we have all of our vehicles in there, which have to have light to get in to see, to get to our stuff, so. And plus it would be a great cost, so probably over the $250,000 mark, probably approaching $500,000 just for the transformer cost. So that's why engineering estimates at this time only to look at, is it feasible to combine those 2 transformers while Encore's doing one, if we jump onto that, and 2, what's our need in order to hook Encore back up to the Vernon side.
Okay. So I think Commissioner Fincannon asked for us to table this until after the building discussion, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any objection to tabling this until after building discussion at a future time?
And that's only, that discussion is
Friday,
this coming
yeah,
Friday.
because we're.
Okay.
we're
That
gonna
won't
move
hurt.
it.
It won't hurt to move it to Friday.
Okay,
It just, we need to move sooner than later for Encore's sake, so we give them direction, because they're wanting to do something this summer.
But do you have an estimate cost on that right now?
No,
Was it a-
that's what this is for. That's what this item's for.
Okay.
So we can engage an electrical engineer to give us an estimate only.
are you asking if there's a cost on what the electrical estimate would cost us to get, or?
Both.
Okay,
Electoral estimate cost and which version of that, because even to tie it back into to the Vernon College, I think still around the $250,000 range, isn't it? To do it, kind of hard to say.
Probably
too.
not. That's why this agenda's item's here, so we can have
My
the
reason
appropriate
is,
electrical people go out and advise us on expected cost and appropriate course of action.
and this is just really falling into the long-term use of that building.
Yeah.
What we as the Commissioners Court want to do with it.
No.
And I think that the other two would like to play a part in that role, so
Yeah, well,
that's one of my reasons for wanting to hold that. Till at
I
least till
mean,
Friday.
that's fine. I mean, I don't know why assigning a project number to go ahead and direct the engineering to take place is gonna change our discussion on Friday.
Maybe not.
What will change with our discussion on Friday is the course of action that we choose to follow moving forward from the engineer's recommendations.
yeah, I do know, I do know that there were some questions about it, and with
Okay.
them being
Like I said, I
out.
don't mind. It's fine.
Okay.
I don't see what it'd hurt either way. So it doesn't affect our discussions about the future of the building. It's still, we've got to do something.
Okay. All right, with no objection, we're gonna table number 6. Okay, that brings us to item number 7. Receive update on courthouse renovation, elevator projects, and county courthouse annexes.
I'll first give credit where credit's due. The asbestos abatement folks did a fantastic job. I don't know if they're finished completely or not. In there yesterday, and the floor that they abated looks like brand new concrete. Excellent job. Glad we went down that road. We'll be closing our portions of 6th and Scott Thursday to lift some rooftop units onto the building. Davis Signs is supposed to be scheduled either this week or next week to put the building signs, including the lettering on the building, so that's coming.
You said it's for next week or later this week?
Not for sure. Hopefully, the idea was to get them in at the same time we're lifting and have the street closed, but I don't know that that's gonna happen. So, have a meeting scheduled with Kirk Wolf and his staff tomorrow on everything that'll affect their operation, because we'll be, in about 3 weeks, we'll be taking the ceiling out in their entire area down on the first floor, and followed up by removing all the ductwork, et cetera, and replacing HVAC system in that area. So there'll be a lot of moving parts and making sure they can continue operation as best possible while having the work going on in their area. Same with Indigent Health, so. Here at the courthouse, if you walked in Monday morning, were surprised like I was. I knew they were doing it, but it sure was a very different look looking at the elevator walls. They did get those stained and they look really good. I'm very pleased with that. So that, the detail work is finishing up on phase one, or the current courthouse projects. We can get that one closed out. 30th District, looked at some samples of the woodwork earlier this week. Man, I'm excited. They're gonna do me a mock-up, but we can't get the egg and dart molding itself because of the expense involved in it just to make a mock-up. So we're gonna make the mock-up without the egg and dart, with a different piece of molding to represent it, but it won't be exactly the whole thing, but we can still get a pretty good idea. The stuff that they cut on the CNC machine, the Grecian molding for the fur downs is fantastic. I'm really excited how that's gonna look. So I think that's all.
One other thing on the asbestos crew left while we were in court.
Okay.
They're done, they're complete, and just so everybody knows, that was done at probably half the cost, and it was done in 3 weeks ahead of schedule. So I would say that company, they did
Like I
more
said-
than their part. They did another stage after the first initial one,
Yeah,
so it probably saved a total of 3 to 4 weeks total in the whole deal.
Yeah. Credit where credit's due. They did a great job.
On the walls for the elevators downstairs, is there one more step of clear?
Yes, and I would like to add, or like to ask, that staff not tape anything to our painted surfaces or our wood surfaces. I've already had to remove tape from the newly stained walls. Remove some tape from the elevators today, and you can see where the sticky is left on the brand new stainless steel elevator doors, which will have to be cleaned off. Rick and I discussed this morning putting up some mag boards in various locations for official. If you want to post something like pancake feed always goes up. So if you want to post something like that, will be official places. But please, please, please don't tape stuff to the new woodwork or paint, because we've worked hard to get it pretty, and we don't want to mess it up with a bunch of tape and goop and whatever,
Especially
staple
before they
holes
seal it.
or whatever
Yeah.
else. Yeah, it's irritating, but and I'll send an email out to everyone when we get those boards. So
Okay. We'll send the courthouse security after you if we see it. All right, do we have any questions on this item? Okay. We were scheduled at this time to go into closed session for 2 items, discussions on negotiations of the Westlake tax abatement agreement and discussions on future plans for the Lindemann Building, Sprague Annex, and the north side of the courthouse. With 2 commissioners out sick today, gonna ask, unless there's objection, that we also postpone discussion of those 2 items until Friday. Because again, both of those, like for everybody to be here as we do discussions. Either y'all object to moving those?
No.
Okay. So, Melvin, just a quick procedural question. Since those have now been tabled, there's no need to go into closed session and open session just because we had it on the agenda, right? Okay. Okay. Then with that, it is 10:59 and court